Hey guys, here on April 14th, 2025, going to go ahead and go over Apple stock chart, and we'll also go over the latest unusual whales firms price targets on Apple. We do have two new price targets, and then I do want to go over this video here that Tom Lee is talking about here about good stock opportunities emerging despite market zigzags. This is just posted as of today for CNBC. Okay, so after this video, again, we're going to go ahead and go over Apple stock.
Futures are adding to Friday's somewhat surprising gains. For more on the markets, let's bring in Tom Lee, head of research at Fundstrat and chief investment officer of Fundstrat Capital, as well as a CNBC contributor. Last time you were on, Tom, you said, I think we can, and it was definitely one of your what seemed like outrageous calls at the time. You said we'd be at 5,500 on the S&P. We should be able to get back there fairly easy. I think we were below 5,000 at the point. We did get close. We got another pullback, but after Friday, we're almost at 5,400 again. What was your reasons for thinking that? I think you just thought that maybe if you see a cat and you keep clapping, it'll jump the first time, but after a while, it finally just ignores you. Is that going to happen with the markets and all this tariff backdrop?
Yes. I mean, I think I know what you're saying, which is I do think markets are getting a little desensitized.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and I think part of it is if someone had an investor hat on, not tactical hat, you know, really good opportunities are emerging because the number of stocks below the 200-day moving average was like 15%. Historically, that's a strong buy signal. I mean, you're going to find a lot of bargains there, and the VIX got above 50, and it almost always pays you to buy the stocks when VIX is above 50. But in the near term, it's a roller coaster. I mean, it does feel like we're having a lot of zigs and zags, and even over the weekend. But to me, I think everything that happened over the weekend, including the Sunday further explanations, all of this is still unequivocally positive for stocks.
Interesting. So when we were below 5,000 and you were on the S&P and you were at 7,100, that's like 40%. So you're now, and were you one of the high people on the street at 7,100? Were you there?
Well, our year end originally was 6,600, but we thought we could touch 7,000 mid-year. Okay. I think the 6,600 is still possible, but I do think the 7,100 mid-year is obviously. It'd be very difficult to reach, so but it's possible. 6,600
by year end. What about you've made a lot of good calls based on moderating inflation. What did you make those numbers at the end of the week?
Well, I think that if we didn't have to consider tariffs, inflation is definitely tracking below expectations.
I mean, where the Fed wants it, almost. Right?
Yeah. I mean, core inflation month over month at 0.00056. I mean, that's like literally hitting a wall.
Now, is that for good reasons or for bad reasons?
I think it's for the right reasons because,
oil?
Yeah, well, there's oil and foods off the boil, but it really is shelter is actually cooling to a 2% rate, and that is what you need to get inflation back down to 2.
Do you, at this point, foresee the worst case scenario in terms of dollar declines, 10-year yields due to people not... The Journal had an interesting piece today that it doesn't need to be that people just abandon the dollar and abandon the United States to invest in. It's just on the margin, because it's a given that you cannot ignore the United States as the elephant in the room globally for all these things, for the, the currency, investments. But on the margin, it could make a big difference if there was even a slight lessening of what we were used to.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is the narrative at the moment, that U.S. exceptionalism's over and people are selling treasuries and dollars to buy other assets. But I'm not in that camp that it's sustainable, because unless weaker dollar and higher yields suddenly makes the best companies in the world outside the U.S., the best and the most important companies in the world are American companies. They've produced the best shareholder returns. And, if you look at the S&P, 40% of the returns of the S&P come from new companies every 10 years. Is there going to be suddenly the best new company coming out of Europe instead of the U.S. because of the dollar? And I doubt it. And I think U.S. companies are going to adapt.
IRS e-file is now open. Snap your W-2 and file your taxes.
All right, so thanks for watching that video. Let's go ahead and take a look at the unusual whales here on, or look at the price targets here on unusual whales on Apple. We have D.A. Davidson here and Needham on April 14th. Both April 14th here. D.A. Davidson here with a $260 price target, a buy recommendation here for Apple. We got Needham here with a $225 price target, another buy recommendation as well. Take this with a grain of salt, and we can go ahead and check here the week of March 31st. We got a mixture of buying and selling with the average price of $212 there. Looks like there's more insider buyings and sells there. Let's go ahead and take a look at Webull now. So here Webull is for Apple, right? Currently at 202.45, up about 2% today. If I go ahead and go into the hourly chart, we did hit this high of almost 213, right? 212.94 there. Now having a bit of a pullback down to potential gap fill here, back down to 199 or 200, right? Keep an eye out for that. On the daily chart here, this is what I really wanted to go over. In this chart here, I'm going to go ahead and go over the upside and downside potential of Apple stock and which one I'm personally leaning more towards on, as well as what I'm personally doing here at these current levels. Okay. I mentioned in our previous video between 173 and 206 here is a really good dip opportunity, and here we are again for Apple stock below 206, specifically below 206.50. I think is a really good dip opportunity, and I wouldn't mind dollar cost averaging between 206.50 and 173.50. Those are the two exact ranges I am looking out for Apple stock. We did dip down below 173.50 for a very short amount of time before having a big move all the way back up to the top side. So you may potentially see 185 to about 206.50 here get tested here in the short term. In terms of a bullish move back up to the top side, now, I already mentioned this is where I would be dollar cost averaging. I am eventually looking for a move to break above 215. I know we got pretty close to it this morning here at about 213. But again, this gap fill to about 215, 216 is something I'm keeping an eye out for. And from current prices, it's right around a 6% move. You also got the 200-day moving average at around 228 that I think will also get tested as well. And that's close to a 13% move to the top side. And again, this is just my opinion. Take this with a grain of salt, but sometime during this year, I do believe that we are going to get a test to 260. And again, that's close to a 28% move to the top side from our current prices. So what you see here is, in my opinion, a very good discount. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And if you are long-term in Apple stock, what are you doing at these current levels? I mentioned for me personally, I'm dollar cost averaging, and I do like this entry here for Apple stock. If I am looking at the broader picture, right? 30% move to the top side there. And honestly, the downside risk isn't even that much in my personal opinion. Right around 8%. And if you really think our recent low here is going to be tested, well, then that's going to be right around a 16% versus a move of about 28% to the top side here. So I think the risk here is a lot lower than the reward in my opinion. So I'm leaning more towards the upside potential move here for Apple stock. And I think a lot of retail traders also are looking to, buy the dip opportunity. And I don't think we're going to see big dips like this anytime soon again. If anything, maybe down to about 185 possibly. But again, I'm more bullish on this move to the top side or a reversal back up. So again, let me know what you think down below in the comments. And if you don't have a community yet for Apple stock, I highly recommend joining our Discord. It's free to join. We have over 32,000 people. A dedicated chat section for Apple stock as well in our Discord. QR code on the right there for Discord, and also first link down below in the description. And if you're looking for live entries and exits on stocks and options from multiple analysts, that does include Apple stock as well, feel free to join our Patreon. We currently have a big promotional discount going on right now as we're celebrating our 5-year anniversary. QR code on the right there for Patreon, and then also second link down below in the description for Patreon. And again, it's going to be a pretty big discount. Check it out. Check out the link down below for Patreon. See if you have, and see if there's any available open spots. And if there is, feel free to secure it. You get to keep the discount permanently as a grandfathered price. And again, joining Patreon will unlock the VIP channels on the Discord. It is optional, so thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video for Apple stock.